Welcome to a Create Today video hosted by Scrapbook and Cards Today magazine. I'm Jen Gallacher, and today we are going to create a card that has an autumn theme to it. We're going to start with an A2 card, and it is going to fold like this. And then I have pre-cut some 6x6 pattern paper to fit on the card. The first paper we're going to start with is this wood grain paper. This is from Echo Park Paper, and I love the look of texture that it creates on the card. You'll notice that when I trimmed the card, I tried to center the design, meaning there is a wood piece that runs about this thick up this side, and the same thickness it runs up the other side. Then to the bottom of the card, some more of that pattern paper. This is a red scallop kind of pattern, and I'm going to face the scallops down. Something to think about when you're designing your cards is make sure the pattern goes the direction you want. And I wanted my scallops to feel like they were coming across the bottom like this. And then because a fall card always looks great with some multicolor plaid, I am adding another piece from this plaid paper. And we'll just place it right here at the bottom. Now, one technique I like to do is I like to take just any kind of doily. This one is, let me measure it, it's about 4.5 inches wide. And I'm going to crinkle it in the center by kind of pleating it as I go around the circle. And then I'll form it into another circular piece and adjust as necessary until I get the size of circle that I want. But you can see it's creating this great texture. Then I'll just take a stapler. This one is from Close to My Heart, and it reaches in really far, which I like. And I want to make sure that I staple it a few times in the center. And I'm not worried about the staples showing because I am going to cover those. So just put in as many staples as you need until you get the folds how you want them. And you can crinkle it as much as you want or as little as you might want. Just adjust it as necessary. This is going to form a textural element on our card here. So I'm going to add a glue dot to the back of this so it will stick, and I'm only placing it right in that center piece right there. It's going to come off our card a little bit, and then once it's on there, I'll go ahead and crinkle it just a little bit more so it's really, really distressed. These craft pieces come from a craft store here in Utah, but you can find them online as well, so just search by Kraft. Then I found this beautiful floral piece that just had all these same kind of fall colors that I have on my strip right here. So again, a glue dot to the center of this so it'll stick. Just right in the center of that piece. So we're kind of building a little bit of texture. Now with a card like this, you're going to have to hand deliver it or mail it in a padded envelope so it doesn't get too squished. I have an ephemera piece from the same collection. This is a collection that is called Fall is in the Air. And to the top, we're going to add some ribbon. It's kind of a tan satin ribbon. Kind of reminded me of the Kraft in the cardstock, which is why I chose it. Seam binding would also look really beautiful with its crinkled edges and distressed look. Or you could use gross grain. Just basically use whatever you have on hand that matches your card. And then I'll trim off some of these excess pieces, and I'm cutting them at a diagonal. So you can see I've cut them at the diagonal. Now before I place this down, I'm going to add some tiny little paper clips to the side of this tag just for some added texture, and these are from Doodlebug Design, and I have collected a lot of these different colors because I love the way they just instantly add texture to things. So you can see I did one with a large part of the loop and one with the small part of the loop. And we can go ahead and attach this to our card, and I'm going to tuck it behind the flower but not behind the Kraft cardstock because I want to be able to read that phrase that says Hello Autumn. So if I'd put it behind that Kraft doily, you wouldn't have been able to read it. Then another ephemera piece from the same collection is this autumn tab. And I like the little bit of red that it brings in. We'll just tuck it right behind there. Now I used a die cut, and This particular one is just a designer die from Echo Park, and you could use paper snips to separate the die, but because each of the die pieces are individual, I just left them intact. Now I cut 2 of these from white cardstock, and I used a textured cardstock, and I was inspired to do that by the design back here. You can see there are white branches. Sometimes you might be tempted to only use green or brown, but white always looks really, really beautiful. So look at some of the elements you're using and see if they can inspire some additional embellishments. Now I'm going to go ahead and cover up part of that autumn tab, and I may actually move that. We'll see. Sometimes when I get designing, I change my mind a little bit, and that's okay. I do use a permanent adhesive, but because I'm working quickly, you can pull it off really fast. So we'll go ahead and move this to the left side instead. Oh, I like that a lot better. So it's okay to change your design as you go. So again, white branches that are die cut, and then the ephemera piece moved over to the left. Now I wanted to fill in some of the space here, so I'm going to use some more ephemera pieces, and I've placed on the back some foam dots, and we're going to spell out the word fall. And this is going to help this sharp corner of that tag. We're going to go ahead and cover that. And I love the way the pop dots just make it kind of pop off the page. And you may have to adjust a little bit so that your curve works for you. And then you can use them in whatever order you want. Obviously the L's can go, either the orange L can go first or the blue L. But it just creates this nice curve. Then to finish it off, I'm going to take some enamel dots, and we're going to use the red. And just add some berries, just like in the picture on the tag, just to give it a little bit more texture. So again, a card that has a lot of dimension like this, you're going to want to use a padded envelope or hand deliver this in person. But just by using a few elements from one collection as well incorporating some textural items, you have a card that looks a lot more layered and sophisticated. Thank you for joining me for this Create Today card video. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel so you don't miss out on any of our tutorial videos.